Hi, welcome to Special Edition Education Matters. This is part of our eighth grade dialogue with our students in across the state of New Jersey. The students in this program are from Gloucester County. We'll be talking to them about their experience during the pandemic, about education, and maybe some of their future goals. I'm really looking forward to this conversation. Um, for you as students, your seventh and eighth grade year was probably a little bit different. No, I would say a lot different than a lot of previous seventh and eighth graders that we've done this program with. The last 2 years have been a little bit different. You have had to deal with COVID during this time and the pandemic and learning in different ways. What has been maybe a lesson that you learned in here that was a positive? Maybe what was the biggest challenge you had? And I will start with you, Brooke.
Hi, I'm Brooke Bauman from Pittman Middle School in Pittman. And I think a lesson that I learned was how to be grateful and how to grow in such challenging times. I know a lot of people who tested positive for COVID, and seeing how they struggled and seeing how much it impacted them taught me so much of how to be so grateful for everything I've been given and all the chances that I've been given.
That's nice. That's very nice. Haley, what about you?
Hi, I'm Haley Bolger. I am an eighth grader at Nahantu Middle School in Gibbstown. For me, COVID has made a lot of things different. The most difficult were having to wear a mask all day, people being quarantined all the time, and how we'd have days where we'd have free days, but we'd actually have to make up work on those days. And then group work would then become individual work because we aren't allowed to mingle because we're all having to be socially distanced. So it just made things really harder on some students because some need a little extra help explaining, and we didn't really get that one-on-one kind of learning atmosphere. One of the positive things I've learned is how to work independently and use new resources to help me learn.
Hmm, interesting. Irene, what about you?
So for this whole school year round, I feel like the most thing I struggle with the most was like the feeling of want to do like schoolwork. I don't know. I feel like that for me and a lot of my other peers in my school, that's been like a big issue around. And at starting of this year, I feel that because a lot more of the kids are now actually are in school, so now they're feeling like the I don't know like the whole weight of what an eighth grade or seventh grade class is like supposed to be like. And from that, I learned a lesson of determination because like I don't know. For now, I feel like I have to do like more and more work. I feel like that I'm like more determined to actually do it than staying online.
Okay. Olivia, what about you?
My name is Olivia Charian. I go to Clearview Regional Middle School in Mullica Hill. And for me, during COVID, the most difficult adjustment was probably having to be on technology all day long and also having to go through the process of setting up office hours with my teachers, maybe just to ask a simple question. I think the most positive lesson I learned during this time was that I learned to not take things for granted, like personal interactions, like talking to my teachers and also interacting with other classmates.
Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. Isabella, what about you?
Hi, I'm Isabella Javadi and I'm from West Effort Middle School. The most difficult adjustment was definitely from switching from online to in-person hybrid learning in seventh grade. This is because it was the first month that we had gone back to school in a few months, and I remember like the first month or so, like my homeroom was basically silent because I think a lot of people had lost like their social skills. Um, the most positive lesson that I've learned during this time was to keep going and to not slack off. A lot of my classmates had been just not trying on schoolwork anymore, and I didn't want to be like that. So I just kept my head up and tried to keep or tried my best at every assignment that I could.
That's great. It is an adjustment. Ayana?
Hi, I'm Ayana Miller from Woodbury Junior Senior High School. And one of the most things that I've been struggling with during COVID was probably staying focused because of the distractions around the house. Always bother me and stuff like that. I apologize. And one of the things that I learned was actually how to use a lot of the apps and how to talk to my teachers online and write professional emails to them. And yeah.
Okay, Kenna.
Hi, my name is Kenna Balbutin in 8th grade from Gateway Regional High School in Woodbury Heights. The most difficult thing that I have during COVID is being able to understand what has been taught because I'm from the Philippines and I just came here December 2020, and being able to understand every English that has been spoke is hard for me. And the most positive thing I learned is do not give up because if I gave up that yet, I wouldn't have straight A's. But I didn't give up. I tried every day. I learned more things every day. So do not give up is the whole thing.
Wow, that's a big adjustment coming from another country in the middle of a pandemic. Wow. Okay. Um, so you had to go through this, and all your classmates had to go through all this in the last couple of years. So did the adults. In fact, I can relate to a lot of you when you were saying the technology that you had to adjust to. Yeah, we all had to adjust to it, and that was hard. But your teachers had to make adjustments too, and it's important having good role models as teachers. Was there any teacher or staff member who has influenced you the most in your education? Brooke?
I would definitely say my 7th and 8th grade ELA teacher, Mrs. Cuesta, has made the biggest impact on my education. She taught me to have a more positive approach to things that were really scary and challenging. She also didn't just teach me how to be a good student, but taught me a lot of key life lessons that helped me grow as a young woman. And, you know, changing your whole mindset and your whole schedule to COVID was so challenging, and she made it just so joyful, and she found the happiness in every moment.
Oh, that's really nice. Haley, what about you?
So it's really hard to pick just one staff member because in both of my elementary and middle schools, they had really great impacts on me and making me the student I am today. One of my teachers, Miss Marini Cosetti, has followed me from third grade at Broad Street Elementary to Nahansi. She's my Italian teacher, so we're really friendly. She had made me a better student by being there for me and supporting me throughout the school years. And she didn't just help out with Italian; she made sure that I was actually doing my work and staying on task.
Olivia?
I would say my 7th grade ELA teacher, Mrs. Scarata, had the biggest impact on me, considering the challenges that many teachers face having to teach remotely. I wasn't much of a reader or writer before I came into her class, but in her class, she would like set aside time for us to read independently, and she really challenged us to dig deeper with our writing. And so this has led me to develop a new love for reading and to really improve my writing skills.
Great, great. Irene?
So for last question, I forgot to mention that my name is it's I. Sorry, it's I. I sorry, I stutter. I forgot to mention that. I stutter. So my name is Irie Johnson. I'm from Delsey Middle School from Franklinville. For me, the teacher that had like the biggest impact on me would have to be my speech teacher because I do stutter, and that she has helped me like maintain that to a less of a level. And that she is my speech teacher, she still does look out for me. Her name is Mrs. Wheeler. That like I don't know because like when I'm like slipping for grades or anything like that, like she'll like pull me aside and help me out and talk to me about what to do and how to make myself better as an individual and as a student.
Wow. Okay, interesting. Um, Isabella?
Hi. Um, I would say my 6th grade literacy teacher, Mrs. Durso, has had the biggest impact on my education. She not only showed that she loved learning and cared about our futures, but made sure that I still learned extra material when I mastered the curriculum. For example, on my writing, she would critique it at a higher level than most of my peers, and I still remember what she wrote today and use it in my schoolwork now.
Wow, that's great. Iana?
I would say the teacher that had the most big impact on me was my literacy teacher, Mr. O'Leary, because he pushed me, because I have a passion for writing, so he had pushed me to go further into my writing, go deeper into it. And till this day, I've been making scripts and things like that nonstop. It's just become like nature to me. And I really thank him for that, for pushing me to go farther in my writing.
That's great. And Kenna?
The teacher that has the biggest impact for me is my science teacher, since seventh grade until today, because she teaches with a positive attitude. I never liked science since I was a kid until she taught me. Like, she shows it, like, it made me understand it, and she's the very first teacher that made me understand what it is. So she always supports every student that she had, and she's always happy with us.
That's good. I love the stories that you all had. They're all personal. It's really great that someone made a difference in your life like that. I am going to make a request of you. When we air this, I think you should share a copy with the teacher you talked about. Just, I think they would really appreciate that. Um, so, you're coming towards the end of your school year. If the principal came to you, or maybe even the superintendent, or someone in this authority position in the school administration, and said, "What can we do to make the educational experience better for more children in our more students?" What would you tell them, Brooke?
I would definitely tell them to listen to the kids and let the kids express themselves. I personally found in middle school that was really able to express myself through writing and through art. But sometimes I feel like adults forget what it feels like to be a teenager and our mental state. And I recently made a piece of artwork that it was a woman, and one side was she had a crown and makeup on. The other side, she had nothing, no makeup, a ball cap, and a tear falling down her face. And I named it Expectations versus Reality. When I showed it to some adults, I felt like they didn't really understand. And that made me feel pretty insecure because it was like I was expressing myself and writing down my emotions on a piece of paper, and they didn't really get it. So if I could tell them one thing, it would definitely be understanding and let those kids express themselves. And even if you're not interested, make them feel like you are, because definitely a sensitive time in our life, and we need to feel welcomed, and we want to feel, part of a group.
Okay, that's powerful. That's very powerful. Actually, I'm going to ask you to send me a picture of that so I can see it. Haley, what about you?
For me, most middle schools have sports teams, and us here, we have a lot of sports people, right? But we don't have our own sports team. We would have to go to the neighboring town. So what I wanted to do is to add um, sports teams to our school. So it teaches the kids, like, how to work with one another, their people skills, and it teaches them time management as they have to take care of schoolwork, making sure they have good grades so they don't be cut from the team, like high schools do have it. Um, so they take care of schoolwork and their sports at the same time.
Okay. Irene, what about you?
For me, I would say like if I could tell like the principal something to change, right, to make a better academic experience for my fellow peers, I would say for like key classes such as like ELA and math, that because of COVID, right, it pushed back like our schedule on the concepts we should have learned like before, but instead like we know the concepts but they're more vague. And so I would say for like the harder units, right, for I don't know, like those two classes to expand them so that that people can actually understand what's going on in class.
Oh, great. Olivia, what about you?
I would say for the school to set up community service projects for the students to partake in, which I think would not only help the community, but it would also teach
Hold
them.
on one second. Speak louder. Start again because the camera, for some reason, wasn't on you.
Okay, I would say for the school to set up community service projects for the students to partake in, which I think would not only benefit the community, but also the students who get to learn how to serve.
Isabella?
I would say that middle schoolers should probably have a later start time to their school day. As teenagers, most of us go to bed later, so I think a later start time would be beneficial for our learning. A well-rested student is usually better than a tired one. And also, many schools have already done this, so I don't think this is a very crazy thing to do, and I think it is usually proven to be effective.
Hmm. Actually, you're not the first one to say that. That's interesting. Um, Ayana?
Personally, I don't really have much because somebody, like a lot of people have already said my ideas, but it's okay with that. But I will agree with the mental health thing that it should be really important for teenagers because school is hard. So I really wish teachers had more, like, if you're not interested in the job, then don't work here. If you don't like kids, then why are you working here? But my thing is that I wish teachers would have more like care towards kids, even if you don't like them. Just have a more open mind to how do you think they would be.
Okay. So another vote for listening to the students a little bit more. Kenna, what about you?
For me, we had this schedule that called morning meeting every morning, and then we only have like some 20 minutes. And then I observed that during COVID, students always talk to their friends through technology like phones. So I would like to add more time for that morning meeting for them to like communicate to improve their social skills because having the phones doesn't affect anything to their social skills and it only affects their graduation. So for them to communicate and improve their social skills is the best.
Okay. I loved your answers on that. The good thing is your principals will see this. So maybe they'll take your advice for next year at least. So we're coming towards the end. Uh, a few months you'll be graduating and you'll be moving on to high school. Uh, so I have a two-part question here. One, what's your feeling about going to high school? Maybe some excitement, what you're looking forward to, maybe some things that you're a little nervous about. Then beyond high school, what are your hopes? I'm not going to hold you to anything. Are you thinking going to college, the military, or you might even have a career path that you're thinking of? You want to go into medicine or something. So, okay, let's find out what the future looks like. Brooke.
I'm looking most forward to sports and developing an idea of what I want to be when I am older, when I go to high school. I'm also really excited to hopefully make some new friends and grow my relationships with my current friends. I am a little nervous for high school and college, but I do have an advantage. I do have an older brother, but walking into a different high school in a different building with a different atmosphere is definitely nerve-wracking. But I hope that it goes really well. And in high school, I look forward to taking some musical electives and working very hard in my other classes. I also hope to play varsity soccer. When I'm in college, I have a little bit of an idea of what I want to be. I'm looking into being a dietitian or a nutritionist. I would also like to go to a D1 school for college so I can play D1 soccer and maybe even go professional after college. I would also like to graduate with a bachelor's degree. And I really want to go to a school that's really, really good with education because my mom was a teacher. So growing up with a teacher has taught me a lot about my education and how important it is.
Mm-hmm.
So education is definitely one of my top priorities and always will be.
Okay. I'm looking at looks like a good future. Haley, what about you?
For high school, I will be attending Gloucester County Institute of Technology, otherwise known as GCIT. At GCIT, I will be taking their health sciences program. I'm looking forward to being on a career path that prepares me for college and earning college credits as I attend high school regularly. I'm also looking forward to all the events, sports, and social aspects of it. Because, like I mentioned before, my school really doesn't have anything like for sports to this level. Um, I'm a little nervous about how big the school is and how all my friends and I are going to be going to different classes because the different courses, and then how some of them might be even going to different schools. So, my future hopes are to get a full scholarship to a college or attend Harvard or Yale. After college, I will either become a regular surgeon, a neurosurgeon, if not something medical, like a lawyer or something in business.
Okay, you keeping your options open. Irie, what about you?
For me, I'm not too like I don't know, like shocked or like scared about going to high school. Like the only thing that can like really it's on my mind is probably I don't know, like making new friends because like a lot of like my friends are going to GCIT, where like talking to them and reaching out won't be as easy. So I have to like find people like someone else to talk to. Uh, but for high school, I'm just like want to enjoy the experience as itself. Like I heard like the clubs and like the after school activities for like the high school we go to, which is uh also Delcy, is also like really good. But yeah, that's basically it for high school. For college, I would do want to go to Stanford to become an aerospace engineer. I think that like I want to pursue this profession because like I think engineering has like stuck with me after doing like STEM classes throughout like elementary school. Now going into like the middle school, but like that's only a part of it. For me, like I don't know, helping someone out, like I don't know, like not like directly, but like I don't know, like making like I don't know, like a plane, for example, or like making something to help out like someone like in like not like in the everyday life, but like I don't know, casually, is like a bonus to like what I want to do.
Okay. Olivia, what about you?
I'm really looking forward to having new opportunities like joining clubs and meeting new people. Also being exposed to new classes that
Olivia, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to do this again. For some reason, the camera's not going to you. Start again and talk a little louder in the beginning.
Okay. I'm most looking forward to having new opportunities like joining clubs and meeting new people. Also, to be exposed to new classes that could potentially lead me to my future occupation. Ever since I was younger, I've always heard that everything counts in high school. So I'm also nervous about other major milestones during high school, like taking the SATs and my driver's tests. My goals for beyond high school are to go to college and to hopefully find a job that I'm passionate about.
Great. Isabella, what about you?
I'm most looking forward to taking difficult classes and learning new things. However, that's also what I'm nervous about. As a freshman, I'll be taking honors algebra 2, which I could possibly take that with sophomores and juniors. So it's a little scary. That could also be an opportunity to make new friends, though.
Okay, what about beyond high school?
I think beyond high school, I would like to go to college to study probably something STEM related. I'm not really sure what I want to do exactly, but
Well, you don't have to know it yet. It took me a long time to figure that out. But I like your part. What's exciting and also nervous is the same thing. So I think that's true. I think that's true. Ayana?
One of the things I'm excited about is going to high school and seeing like it's like another milestone for me. I'm kind of excited to go and experience the experience. And one of the things that I do want to do when I go to college is hopefully try and train for soccer more, like get better at my footwork, and like become an author and write movie scripts and stuff like that. Mostly just a lot of writing in my life.
That's great. It's great. I'm looking forward to it. And Kenna?
Today I'm still in middle school, eighth grade. So, next year I'm gonna be in high school. So my future hopes is to maintain my grades as straight A's. To my only goal was to make my whole family proud. And then I'm nervous about if I can maintain it or how hard is it gonna be. That's the only thing I'm like nervous about. And then I'm looking forward to joining a sport too next year. And then beyond high school, I want to go to college. And then I have a lot of options, like if I want to be an architect, engineer, a chef, or more, because I don't really know what I'm going to be in the future yet.
So you got plenty of time. So that brings us to the end. I love this conversation. I feel very confident about the future of this country with eighth graders like this. I think your insights were great and on point. And I hope everyone else who watched this enjoyed it as much as I did.